It's almost there.
Does it say it's recording or
It's
streaming?
still connecting.
Okay. Yeah, I'm checking YouTube. I don't see, checking the town portal to see when it shows up.
Okay, we're on.
All right, the time is 6 p.m. and I call the May 12th, 2020 meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. First thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes.
I read them and I make a motion it be accepted as written.
I second the motion.
Okay, Ron made the motion to accept the minutes and Skip seconded it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, the minutes are approved. Correspondence and announcements.
Citizens' comments, do you have any?
Citizens' comments, no, I didn't get any. I knew I was forgetting something for a second. Chopping my head off. All right, correspondence and announcements. I thought I had the police report. Yep. I have the report from Troop E for the month of March. 69 calls for service, 3 accidents, 0 fatal, 1 criminal investigation, 0 burglaries, 0 larcenies, 40 non-reportable matters, 0 DUIs, 15 traffic citations, 6 written warnings, and 1 narcotics violation. And that is it. So we have board and committee reports, spending requests. I put that on the agenda. I didn't know if we were going to have a spending request from the Rec Commission. I know that they are looking into getting some equipment for, they want to do drive-in movie theaters this summer on Constitution Field. They have a projector. They were talking about using the ice rink liner for the screen, and they needed a transmitter for the sound. So they were looking into the costs. Oh, and they need a license for the movies. So they were looking into the cost of the license and the transmitter. And they were going to get back to us to see if, because of the spending freeze, it's not in their budget. But they feel that it would be something for the citizens to have for the summer. So. But I didn't get a total, so I don't know how much it's going to cost. And they also have their own money too, so, but I can.
I'm curious what the licensing fees will be.
Yeah.
Particularly if they're what they normally would be, or if there's some sort of discounts or concession being offered by studios right now.
That's what we were wondering. They were wondering that too, if there was some sort of COVID discount with it. So. They were going to get back to me, and I'll let you guys know when I have a total. So another possible spending request I just got today was from the registrar's office. The Secretary of State's office has a grant that is a matching grant for, especially for IT equipment for the registrars. So they're requesting another computer. The grant is up to $3,000. Again, it's matching. I asked them to let me know, give me more information about if that grant covered just the equipment or if it covered the installation and setup too. Because one thing we find out is that it's the installation and setup that can cost more than the actual equipment. So they're getting back to me with more information on that as well. So, and that's all I had for spending requests so far. I don't know if you guys have any questions or comments about any of that.
Wait till you get a full price or something, and then we'll
Yeah.
discuss it.
Okay. So for old business, for budget fiscal year 2019, 2020, we have a couple of things that are going to be challenging for this budget that we're in right now. That we haven't, I think most of the things we've talked about already. One of the other things too is we've gotten most of the state money so far. I think the only thing Julie said that we didn't get was the second payment for the Pequot funding, which
Mhm.
is about 20,000 between
About
20 and 30.
27,000.
Yeah. So we haven't gotten that yet. And honestly, don't know if we are going to. That's just something to keep in mind. That's going to affect our bottom line for this budget. And the other thing is we're expecting to have to do an appropriation for the garage. We got another change order. When they were doing the paving for the parking lot area, they found more unsuitable fill under the ground. This time there were rocks, but a lot of wood was under there, like roots, stumps, stuff that wasn't there before, just like for the foundation before. So we had an expense there that we weren't anticipating.
How
So-
big?
What?
How big?
How much?
We are, right now, we would have to ask for an appropriation, I think around 30,000. But we're gonna wait and see what happens. We're almost done. And before we do an appropriation, we're also expecting a credit too. So I'm not quite sure how big the credit's gonna be. We'll see, we'll know more in a couple of weeks what the actual appropriation would be. But that's where we are there. And that also extended the time another 2 weeks. So
So what's the scheduled completion date now?
uh,
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Tracy.
it was April 30th, so another probably, I don't know, we're probably looking at a couple of days now. Is that right, Julie? It was 14 days from the 30th. So,
Right, yeah, they finished, I think they did the paving Monday, didn't they?
yeah,
They were working on it yesterday and today.
right.
Yeah, when I was in town hall at probably 4:30, I saw several DEF and several other work trucks headed up to the garage.
Right. So
So
they
they're
are
on their
just finishing up.
Final inspections and that kind of stuff.
Mhm. So we'll have to have a virtual tour when it's opened.
I think that would be good, particularly with our new video setup here. It'll be something up on the town YouTube channel for those who want to
Yeah.
see what we're getting.
So that's for the rest of this year. Things that we have coming up. And then for any questions about the fiscal year 1920 budget?
I have none.
Okay,
No, I went through it and I didn't see anything that stood out that we haven't already discussed.
okay. So for the budget fiscal year 2021, our timeline's the same. I notified both of you when the executive order came up that said that it was mandatory for the Board of Selectmen to approve the budget for the year and that there wouldn't be any voting done by residents. So that changes our plans with having the town meeting. But we still have a Board of Selectmen's meeting that day, and that will be the day when we vote on the budgets. So, as the board. That was
Yep.
June 9th. So we will still have the public hearing on keep getting it confused, the 24th or the 26th.
26th, May
26th.
26th.
So we'll still have the
Tuesday.
public hearing on the 26th, and we're going to have it with the Board of Ed. So we'll have both the public hearings at the same time. We'll all be on the Zoom, and we're working out the details as far as public participation. I think Julie and Pam were working it out through Zoom. the other day.
Difficult part with Zoom is we can mute everybody and mute their video. The problem is letting people know when they're calling in, okay, it's your turn to speak, when you only have a phone number. You don't necessarily have a name to say, okay, until you unmute their phone and unmute their video, you don't know who it is.
Because we're trying to figure out the easiest way for people to ask questions and participate in a public meeting if they don't have the video. So if they don't have YouTube, or if they don't have Zoom.
And in the waiting room, they can't hear the meeting. So you can't leave them in the waiting room because they won't be able to hear anything that's happening.
So if they dial in and they can hear it, and we're trying to figure out how to know from the dial in if they have questions. And Pam found the thing with where they can hit a number and it raises their hand.
Right, they can raise their
Right.
hand, but I can't say, okay, go ahead, without saying phone number such and such, go ahead. There's no way to let them know that they're unmuted and they can talk. That's our biggest challenge.
We just have to say their phone number. So I'm sure everyone knows what their phone number is.
Well, I didn't know if that's something you wanted live streamed,
Right.
because that's public.
Typically, I would say that would be a concern, but if this is the only way that we've got for people to be able to participate, we just make it clear up front that we will be calling on people by their phone number. So their phone number will be part of the recording.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't any other way around that. We can also suggest that if they do not have access to Zoom, maybe they check with the neighbor to see if a neighbor has a computer where they can be in Zoom. So if they're concerned about their phone number being listed in as part of the video, as we call on them.
Right.
Or they have to send in their comments ahead of time or
Yeah,
questions.
there still be the option for email comments too. So.
I don't know if you can do email comments while the meeting's going on. I think that would be a little, I'm not sure.
That would be, you'd need something much more real time on that,
Right,
like Teams or something else, and then you get back to someone not having a computer.
right.
All right. So that's the timeline, the meeting dates, capital projects. So one of the things I've been hearing for next year's budget that's concerning is the fact that we have to be ready if we don't get the state funding that we think we're getting. So we have our revenue planned in our budget right now for the state funding that we're expecting to get. But because of the the economy right now and the state not getting their revenue, it could affect us where we're not going to get what we expect, where we will have to make choices later. So because of
Isn't-
that, what?
Wasn't there a chance of 20% we wouldn't get?
Yeah, I was told to have a backup budget, so that, and to expect 20% less in funding, which is quite frightening.
Yeah.
So that's what we're looking for next year. Because of that, I know we had talked about taking money from the undesignated fund to offset the mill rate for this year. I mean, for the next budget. I'm thinking that because of that possibility of a 20% decrease in our revenue, that we don't do that. Because we might need the money in the undesignated fund to offset any revenue losses. So,
That could be a 400,000 to 500,000 loss you
yeah,
would need to cover.
so I'm going back on what I said before of using the money from the undesignated fund to offset the increase this year, because I'm afraid that if we don't get that money, we're going to need it. So for the capital improvement program and for our appropriations, I just have the plow truck, the library roof, and the breathing apparatuses for the fire department, which would be $162,817 from the undesignated fund. And so that doesn't include the, I think it was 230,000
Yep.
was for the mill rate increase. So I did talk
So
to,
you're suggesting going ahead with a mill rate increase in the new budget rather than taking that 230K to offset it, so that we've got it for a potential 20% hit on what we get from the state here, which would be, what did you say, Julie, 400 to 500K?
Yeah.
I-
We have
I don't think
80,000 alone in Mashantucket funds that we probably won't get because they're closed.
Yeah, I don't think we have any other option.
Well,
Yeah.
Tracy, what are you saying? That you would have an increase in the price of taxes?
yes. I talked to Adam about it, and they have a budget, the budget that they're proposing that's going up to the Board of Ed has been revised. And
I know that.
yeah, so he had it went from a 60,000, like about a 60,000 increase to over 30,000.
39.
Yep.
So that would bring us to was it 0.33?
Yep.
A 0.33 increase.
That's 0.33%.
A mill
Is
rate.
that what you're saying?
A mill rate
Huh?
of 0.33 increase.
Yeah. 0.33.
And that's included on our end is the increase in insurance, the increase in workman's comp. It's not anything that we can cut. So. Oh, and it's the decrease in our investments that we're getting hit with too. So.
You know, you're not saying something right. 0.33%, it's 0.33 mils it's gonna rise, right?
Yes,
Yes,
All right, that's not a percentage, all right,
Okay.
I just
sorry.
did that. No, you didn't say it, I'm the one that brought in a percentage, I'm just thinking in the wrong direction. I'm just trying to figure out what do you call it, just some kind of rough idea what the percentage is. Percentages have been lousy. All right, I got that as a little over 1% of an increase in the mill rate. Julie?
what do you mean? The 1%,
Huh? It would
what do you
be
mean a
about
1%?
1% increase. I always did it by percents, all right? And
Yeah,
that is about, my crazy number is
You're right,
1
right.
point,
It's
huh?
just over 1%, because
Yep.
we're going from, this would be taking us
about
from
1.1%.
Yep, 1.12, yeah.
29.21 to 29.54
Yep,
is what's proposed. So
all
that's
right.
the
So,
0.3 mill rate increase.
I mean, 1% is not a big increase by anything, including, figuring that it's including the $87,000 that your governor cut out of our ECS.
Yeah,
So that's all I'd like to put it in terms that people, I think, would understand too. And it isn't that we like it, that's for sure.
no,
Just,
So last year's increase was a 0.32. So the 18-19 to the 19-20 budget was a 28.92 to a 29.21. So that's a 0.29, sorry, that's a 0.29 mill rate
Yep.
increase is what we did last year. So
Yep.
it's, and trust me, I'm not saying that this is a good thing, but it's, we're trying to make sure that next year is, however bad it's going to be, we're not paying, we're not making it easier this year and making it even harder next year.
They already have the deferred on paying their taxes next year, so you're looking at, how many people are gonna be late with their taxes, plus decrease in revenue.
Right.
Without an undesignated fund, who knows, where you would, for the first time, I don't think we would get that far, but we wouldn't want to use up the whole undesignated fund.
yeah, and that's
In 1
another
year.
reason that Julie just touched on with the undesignated fund is with the tax deferment, people are gonna be paying later and just to make sure we have money in
backup
there.
cash.
Yeah,
Well, people are going to be paying later, but there's also going to be a higher number of people who are unable to pay.
right.
And those two together, we don't even know how much interest we're going to lose because less money coming in later.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a compounding effect on that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm still trying to figure out the FEMA money and how that, if we'll get money from FEMA, we're hoping to, but I'm not.
Yeah, we're hoping to get money in from FEMA. I think the schools alone was 89,000, I think, on the school, just the school
Yeah.
side. So we're expecting to get whatever, we don't know what they're going to approve yet, and we would get 75, I think they're at 75% back of what's approved. For
Yes, and that goes straight into the undesignated fund.
right. But again, we don't know what they're gonna approve or not, so.
I mean, the governor was on a few minutes ago. He said that they expect about $1 billion loss in revenue this year. But this is his words without anybody bringing up. He said something about Connecticut does have a fairly healthy undesignated funds. So I don't know if that referring to that they might dip into that. Who knows? Things like that I wouldn't give much, believe them much. So who knows? You don't know. It's hurting everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I just figured quick on $5,000 in taxes, your 1.1% would be about $56, which I don't like any increase, but I mean, like you say, times are tough and probably going to get tougher.
Right.
Exactly. They are going to get tougher next year. We know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So depressing.
Yeah, it really is.
It's depressing for everybody, yes, that's for sure.
Yep. Any other questions about the budget, or, I don't know, did we make enough changes to have to vote to reapprove it? I think we just moved some line items around.
You took less out of the for capital funds, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
the
did.
capital budget will have to be
So
reapproved.
Yeah,
yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
that was a good
The
start
100
there.
Yep.
So do we have a motion?
Oh, I'll make a motion to approve this budget as we discussed.
Okay.
I
Okay, so Ron made the motion to approve the proposed government budget, including the capital projects plan, and Skip seconded it. All in favor, say aye.
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 I
Opposed? Hearing none, it's approved. All right,
That's 160. So what we just approved was 162K coming out of the capital projects funds and a mill rate increase of 0.33.
right.
Yeah.
But that's
Yes.
also, that's contingent too on the school, but the Board of
Yeah, they
Ed
have to-
budget. Because they have
They have
their
to
meeting
pass.
on Thursday, and they could make changes and not be what we have planned. So. All right. Next on the agenda is Beach Pond. I put this on the agenda because we still have some work to do on Beach Pond. I gotta talk to DEP. It's on my agenda to get in touch with our contacts over there and find out what their plans are for the boat launch this summer and what their staffing plans are. I have a feeling it might be worse this year with the number of people on the pond and around the pond. So I just wanted to bring that up, that I will be in communication with them to see what their plans are for this year. And that brings us back to Finn Beach. I did get some information from the state about the beaches, and mostly from Uncas Health and the Ledge Light Health District, which does the southern part of Eastern Connecticut, so mostly the ocean beaches. What they are doing is the beaches are still open, but they're social distancing, and we have to decide what we're going to do with Finn Beach. If we're going to, we talked last time, regardless, we should have the security there. We have to figure out how many people with with the social distancing could be there. I know some beaches that are town beaches, but take out of town people, have changed it to just town people. I can, when I'm talking to DEP, see, because our contract specifies that our lease contract, that we can't do that. But maybe talking to them, we will be able to do that, and that would limit the people that we sell tickets to, or parking passes. But that could also hurt us too, because ironically, the most people we sell, we make more money from the out-of-town people on the parking tickets than the in-town people to pay for the security.
So we wind up increasing the cost.
Yeah. So that's where we are with the Finn Beach.
You can probably do Finn Beach because that's rented from a private, so that's the parking you can probably limit. The beach you might not, from
Yeah.
out of state.
That's what I was thinking too, with the parking lot. Limit to a number of cars per versus the number of people on the beach.
You have a
It's
lot
hard.
that go down on bicycles and walk there too.
Yeah,
Oh, I mean, there's no way to limit them, and the state has got to be coming out with some kind of ruling that how they want to
and
take care of their beaches. I mean, that is a state beach, and we should really look at their regulations.
exactly. And this is what's been frustrating too on many
Yeah.
levels, is the things that we really need help with, or guidance with, like sooner, is not being focused on by the state. And whether they're just leaving it up to the towns, which is what when I get a question, that's what they're like, well, we're leaving it up to the towns. I'm like, but why not be consistent with the towns? Because if we have rules different than another town, and we either get more people from, it just doesn't make sense to me to have everyone not consistent. So, but
Yes.
This is one of the things where I'm not getting answers from. And I know the other thing was with the Memorial Day parade, like the governor has not come out and said that he's not allowing Memorial Day parades. It's just, which is, some towns are, that like no towns I know of are having one. I've talked to Uncas Health about it because we canceled it at the last meeting, but between the last meeting and this meeting, I got a letter from the DOT saying they approved our permit. But we have to follow the guidelines of the governor, and the governor's guidelines right now restrict parades and gatherings. So other first selectmen are like, what the heck? Like, how can you say, here's your parade permit, but guess what? You can't have a parade because according to the executive order, it's not allowed. So
As far as I'm concerned with the parade, that is a dead deal. That's the end of it.
Yep, I know. And I talked to Patrick at Uncas Health, and he's like, there's no way to have a parade to stay within the guidelines. He said some places are doing like little, like 2 people videotaped ceremonies if that's what they want to do. He's like, but he even said no to the parade. So, but I said to him, I'm like, can't the state just be all on the same page with things instead of one person saying, no, you can't have a parade, and then the other one saying, well, yeah, here's your parade permit. So.
Yeah, we all know how any government bureaucracy works.
Right.
We are one. Just
Right.
a little tiny, and a big one like the state, and I'm not trying to defend the state, but
Right.
it takes time for new guidelines to be issued, but until those guidelines are issued, every state employee has to follow that process that they have in place.
Right.
So no one has told them stop approving permits because there's 3 things that have to happen before that. So the person who approves permits going, I don't know why I'm doing this, but this is my job and what I'm required to do. it sounds crazy, but it's one of those things that when you just think about just government bureaucracy, it's slow moving, and the very definition of bureaucracy.
Yeah.
So.
And even other selectmen are like, okay, like this is making sense now. But all right, so that's my off tangent. So yeah, for Finn Beach, because we have to know if we're gonna sell the tickets, because we're usually selling them by now, because the lease starts in, is it May 15th?
June
Usually.
15th.
June
June
15th,
15th.
yeah. So when I hear back from DEP.
And Tracy, the way this weather's going, we might be ice skating by then, so.
No kidding.
Yeah, has the rec commission put away the ice skating rink yet, or are they gonna just wait?
The Public Works Garage update, I already added that with the appropriation. We're anticipating it to be done soon. I did just get another request for extension, for a 90-day extension. We're waiting to see if that's approved or not, but we're leaning towards it was on the excuse of COVID-19, so I'm waiting for their information on that. So before we decide. That's the garage. Anything else about anything that we had in old business before I move on to new business? Okay. So the first thing on new business is a remote work policy. All the town hall employees have been working remotely and in the office, but as much as they can has been remotely. It's been suggested by the state and CCM to put together a remote work policy, just so that there's clear, it's also transparent for the taxpayers too, to have a clear plan for remote working, so that it's in writing, and I also think that it's something that we could carry on even after the quarantine and stuff, for people that so they don't come in sick. They could also do remote working too. I did see it. Yep.
Right there. We have no idea what the new normal is going to be,
Right.
but the new normal, I guarantee the new normal is going to include significantly more remote work. So.
Exactly. So the state has a couple of policies out there. I've been looking through them, and probably will pull different things from them. Talk to our attorney and see if he has any from other towns too, and put something together, and we'll have it for review at a future meeting. So for remote work. The next thing is the long-term recovery committee. This is something I'm not really sure where it's going. The long-term recovery committee is per the state, and it is something, what is it, like a FEMA phase or a disaster response phase? I guess the last time they had a long-term recovery committee set up was for Hurricane Sandy. It's supposed to be a group of people that are responding to the aftermath of a crisis, to make sure that the town has and the residents have all their needs met, as far as food, shelter, any type of assistance. The state originally had it as each town would have their own recovery, long-term recovery committee, and they would appoint a person to be the head of it. And they suggest that the person that's the head of it is not someone that's already doing a lot of stuff, that it's someone like retired or that had the time to take on the long-term recovery committee. So that was the first part. And then they suggested that it can be a regional, like towns can share a committee. And then it turned into, well, then your COGS can have be a committee and work by COGS. And the last update I got was that it was gonna go by the Department of Emergency Management units. And ours is like the whole eastern part of the state. And that the COGS are all gonna be working together, CCOG and NECOG. So that's the last update I have. So I don't know really where it's going with this. But if we do work with another town or groups of other towns, it is something that we would have to approve the decision for. So anytime
And
the
get
town,
people to volunteer for it and appoint them, yeah.
yeah, no, but even anytime a town gets into an agreement with another town, it's usually something that the residents have to vote on at a town meeting. But apparently there was an executive order a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago, that now the Board of Selectmen can enter agreements like that and not town meetings. So, but it is something we would probably have to approve if we do. That came out with the Board of Selectmen can make their own ordinances and everything without a town meeting. So
the takeaway from the long-term recovery committee is stand by to stand by. More
Yeah.
information will be.
yeah, but I thought we had a plan and then we don't. So I'm not sure where it's going. We did have offers to work with some nearby towns. And if they're doing it by COGS, then that's still a possibility that we will be working with those towns. So I'm not really sure what the final decision is going to be. And I was supposed to get more information today, but I haven't gotten it yet. So within the next couple of days, I should know more about that. And I don't know, apparently we had this committee back in Hurricane Sandy time. So I don't know if Ron remembers anything about it.
No, I don't remember anything like that.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean it wasn't.
right.
It may have been at the COG level.
At the town level, I would have remembered something like that, of, maybe Jody to be in, emergency management might have remembered something. I don't remember anything, though.
No, because me, Julie, and Pam attended a workshop that was about like opening Connecticut or something. So our long-term recovery, we thought it was going to be about the whole plan to reopen Connecticut, but the whole workshop was about this committee. And the majority of, and the thing with the committee too, is a lot of it's based on like fundraising and getting donations to pay for what you need for services. So it's
it's creating a 501c3 to take money in so that you could use that to distribute to people who need help.
who need it. So it's pretty, it's not just a committee, it's a whole like semi-organization. So
Better go till you find out more.
Yeah. So the next thing on the agenda, equitable optional plan retirement changes. Now this, to comply with the CARES Act, this goes with our retirement, fund that we have for employees. So to comply with the CARES Act, we just have to choose an option for employees to be able to take money out of their retirement fund if they have problems due to COVID-19 to comply with the CARES Act. So the options are coronavirus-related distribution, loans and loan repayments, or RMD waiver.
I don't
Which
think you have
allows-
to limit it to one. You can choose all of them.
You can choose all three, yeah. You can choose all three. And the RMD waiver allows the participants the option to waive their 2020 RMD. And the loan is in addition to any current loan limitation. So we can check all three off so that the employees can pick which one they want, which I'm fine with. I don't know.
Allows employees to take money out of their retirement fund to use if they need it now without having to be paid back.
Right. So I don't know what you guys think.
They have to follow federal IRS laws.
Right,
And I
this
think
is just adding it for like, to comply with the CARES Act so they can take stuff out for COVID-19 reasons. So,
So what action do
I asked it to do this.
yeah. We just have to say which ones we're gonna allow and then I just sign it and turn it in.
And they'll write a written policy and send to us saying this is how it works with the federal and the IRS regulations.
Mhm.
Like I say, see what they want. It really, we have, like you say, they have to follow regulations.
Yeah. So this
And,
just chooses what options we want to give them, and I'm fine with saying they can have all three options and then just pick which one suits their needs better for the person.
Yeah, that's a good answer right there, because again, that's the best way to do it. I don't expect anybody to have problems that way, but
Right.
Our plan
this is a
already
small
allows
town.
for an emergency distribution. So it's something that the employees already can have the option of taking money out of it. So it's not really going to be a big change for us.
Yeah, it just opens it up to COVID-19.
It just helps out of the
comply.
10% of what they have to pay in IRS fees and whatnot. That's more what it waives those things than whether they can do it or not.
I mean, they have to pay all the fees, so there's no cost to the town whatsoever.
Right.
No.
And, like you say, so I agree with Tracy. Give them their choice of the three choices.
It waives the mandatory 20% withholding, and a voluntary withholding of 10% can be distributed. So it talks about all the IRS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys are fine with all three, that's what I'll do. And then the employee can choose which one best suits their situation. Oh, we lost Skip.
What'd we lose?
Yep.
We lost it.
We lost Skip?
Yep.
Well, my internet's been kind of funny too, so.
See if he
See,
comes
a
back.
regular old phone works good.
Yeah, we never lose you. All right, that was the end anyway, so we'll see if he comes back. But that was the end of
Oh,
my
you-
list.
You want to
I don't know.
want a motion to adjourn?
Sure, if you don't have anything.
No, I don't have anything. Is Julie in tomorrow?
Yes, I'll be in
All
the
right.
office tomorrow.
Yep, that's all I need.
All right.
All right.
All right,
I make
motion
a
to
motion to
adjourn.
adjourn.
All right, I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Oh,
Aye.
there he is.
Wait, here comes the-
All in favor?
I make a motion to adjourn.
We're never
Okay.
ending. You still can't get in.
Well, then, like you say, adjourn and the heck
Yep.
with it.
Yep, we're adjourned.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Good luck.
Yeah,
Bye.
Bye.